Hello everybody, Trent here on another late night. Just wanted to give a quick introduction to the man who has changed my life in a way that I didn't predict, and his name is Dr. John Sarno. I just got done watching this video. I bought this probably 3 years ago because I'm fascinated with anybody who has anything different to say about pain relief. Well, this is definitely different. Dr. Sarno, in his Mind Body Prescription DVD, explains how there's a syndrome called TMS, Tension Myositis Syndrome, in which people have unconscious rage that they're not aware of, and this is the cause of mild oxygen deprivation, and creates a problem of pain in many different areas of the body, and it can be very, very severe. Sarno goes on to explain how oftentimes people have no pain at all when getting an MRI, and they have bulging discs. He describes any sort of diagnosis that someone's already gone through, and says that it's not a problem, that your back is completely normal, and that you have no problems at all with your back, that it originates with this unconscious rage, like I said, rage that you're not even aware of, and it creates problems and pain. Pretty amazing stuff how you can think of how some sort of unconscious emotion can have such an effect on things. But I've really come to experience this in the clinic. People just do not put as much credence to this as they should, and it's a crime, really. I mean, people would rather go through all these things, including surgery and drugs and injections and all these things, anything to really avoid the problem that they really have, which is this emotion of rage that they don't even know that they have. One thing that got me tonight, and I just went through this again, I was just astounded by how profound this was. But basically, I want to go over the personality traits of someone with TMS, or Tension Myositis Syndrome. Basically, they include expecting a great deal of yourself, having a drive to be perfect, or achieve or succeed. By the way, I have about all of these, so just so you know. And I've had hip pain and I've had back pain. Very, very, very interesting stuff. I've been finding out a lot more about my body and what's going on and what I need to do for it. I'm my worst critic. Also very conscientious and sensitive to criticism. Yep. Strong need to please people and wanting people to like you. They also are the caretaker type. People who worry about family, friends, and relationships, or relatives, and also have a pressure to be perfect or good. Perfectionism and goodism is a big thing that Dr. Sarno talks about. And once people realize that they have this subconscious rage, even if they're not really aware of where it's coming from, or what it's about, if you can start to write down things in your life that have pressure to them, which is money, debt, work, business, family, the idea that you are mortal, that you're going to die someday, and also any sort of anger from childhood that kind of links to that perfectionism. If we can go over some of these, and that's something that I've looked into with tapping, is to go over these things that you may not even be aware of. And for example, say, even though I'm not aware of having any unconscious rage, I completely and deeply accept myself anyway. And then go over all the points and see what comes up. Pretty much, usually something will come up. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm pissed at the baby, got all mad, or got all cried like crazy or whatever, and I got upset. Or hold that in, you don't express anger because of that wouldn't be the right situation to do this, so our body tends to push that below. Once we become more aware of these things, we can improve our body tension and decrease the pain. And like I said, this video explains a lot of how he actually goes about it. His main treatment is the lecture that's 2 hours long, goes over all the mechanisms of TMS and who tends to have it. Another book that he has, same kind of logo, called Healing Back Pain, Mind-Body Connection, definitely worth a read. People have reported reading this book and actually getting better from their back pain for that they've had for years and years. Another one called The Mind-Body Prescription. I've read all of these books. They're pretty amazing and worth reading over and over again if you have a problem with your back. And also The Divided Mind. This goes over a lot of perspective from other doctors who have seen TMS in the clinic and have treated it and have found that this diagnosis is right on. A lot of times, as a PT, I'm thinking about trying to get things to calm down, trying to get joints to move correctly, and oftentimes we'll think how things off are going to create the pain. Dr. Sarno doesn't have people go through physical therapy at all. He says it messes up with their life, or messes up with what they're trying to establish, which is that the subconscious rage is the main source of what's going on, but the unconscious rage is what's going on. So we have to realize that trying to say that there's something wrong with your joints or your back puts more attention to something wrong with your back. John Sarno says there's nothing wrong with your back. So I know there's a lot to chew today. I wanted to go over just the basics of Dr. Sarno. There's going to be many more sessions about him because I just find the whole thing fascinating and mind-blowing. And as a physical therapist, where we're trained to realize, to find structural abnormality, to find movement patterns that are adverse to possibly creating someone's pain, to hear somebody say, well, you don't need to go to therapy, you don't have, and there's nothing to do with your back, with this herniations or facet arthritis, any sort of kinematic issues, that everything is fine anyway. That's tough to take. So just to realize that I'm struggling with this as well, but I've come to realize this is a huge part of it. If this guy is around, and he's been doing this for years and years, decades, and has treated into the thousands of people with these type of personality traits like goodism, perfectionism, and has had a really good track record with people who have seen everybody, have actually had surgeries, and there's something to it. There's just too much to ignore. So I hope you get a little bit out of this tonight. I hope you can maybe take a look at some of John Sarno's work and decide for yourself. Everything is for yourself to learn. But I think a lot of times all of us have some sort of those traits. We want to be good. We want to do things right. And that's a tough thing to take. To realize that is connecting to your pain. But the mechanisms behind it may be not as clear as people understand, but I think with the EFT stuff, going over all the points and understanding that goes really a long way. Okay, well, that's it for tonight. I hope you have a good night or morning or whenever you're watching this. Please give me any comments and take care.